Hello guys, good morning, what's up? It's me Thales, you are watching my channel dedicated to English language. This is an intermediate advanced video which will be entirely in English, right? We have more than 100 videos available in this playlist, but if you prefer you can watch my other playlist which is dedicated to people who are beginners or starting to study English, which is the basic one. The basic list is explained in Portuguese, okay? So before we begin, subscribe, give a thumbs up if you like it, and hit the notification bell. What are we going to study today? We will see structures involving ing clauses, okay? So I guess in the last two videos we talked about expressions with ing, right? But today we will study other types of expressions. So without further ado, let's get going. All right, let's start, let's begin. Remember that we studied this last video. Let me see. Here, for example, this type of structure summarizes what we have studied so far. For example, when you say, I've never seen him sing, or I've never seen him singing. You see, you can use a verb with ing, or you can use a verb in the infinitive tense. The difference in meaning exists, of course. When you say, seen him singing, it means that you were doing something and you just saw him in the middle of singing, or I've never seen him sing. Sing here means the entire action. So that's the main idea here. We are going to talk about similar expressions, but not only the verb, but clause, entire clauses dedicated to continuous tenses. For example, I hurt myself while cooking dinner. Or I hurt myself cooking dinner. I guess this is the same idea. So here we have two different things. First, I hurt myself. Remember the reflexive pronouns when the action happens to yourself, right? To oneself. In that case, I hurt myself with a knife. Anyway, I hurt myself, or I burned myself, right? While cooking. I hurt myself cooking dinner. This is an ing clause. We can say that. It's a clause that makes part of the whole sentence. We have two different ideas. First, I hurt myself, and then second, I was cooking dinner. Okay? Another example. John hurt his arm playing football. American football, right? He hurt his arm playing football. So, he hurt his arm is the first part of the sentence. Playing football is the second one. This is the ing clause. You see the difference? Here we are talking about a sentence. It's part of the sentence. We have a verb and an object here. In the examples we have talked so far, for example, here, it's not a clause necessarily. But it can be a clause when you say, he felt somebody touching his hair. He felt somebody was touching his hair. So you can have a clause as well. Another example. She went home. She went back home, sorry. She went back home because she was feeling tired. Okay, so she was at a party or she was at work and then she went back home. Just forget about this, okay? She went back home because she was feeling tired. Okay, you can say, feeling tired. She went back home. You can put an if clause in the beginning of the sentence. Feeling tired, she went back home. So, you can use if clause, as I have mentioned here. In the beginning, oh my God, I wrote it here. You can use the if clause. In the end of the sentence, John hurt his arm. Doing what? Playing football. So this is an if clause in the end of the sentence. Or you can use the if clause in the beginning. When using in the beginning, you have to put comma, right? You have to be attentive to it. Okay. Now, let's see what happens when we have two different actions. One happen after, right? One action happens after. For example, I cut myself shaving. Okay, so what does it mean? I was shaving myself, then I cut myself. So you see, shaving is a continuous action that took place before I spoke, right? And I was shaving, then I cut myself. In the middle of shaving. I was in the middle of shaving myself, shaving my beard, shaving my hair, or body hair, anything. So I cut myself, okay? In this example, John hurt his arm playing football. It's the same idea. He was playing football. Then what happens? Something clashes into him. Poof. It has an impact. He falls on the ground and then he hurt his arm. So, while playing football, he hurt himself. So he was in the middle of it. Of playing. He was playing football and then the action happened. Okay? But not necessarily this happen. One action happens after the other. You can also have two actions or two events happening at the same time. Okay? For example, I am. I guess I wrote this example before, but anyway. I am at home playing games. So, I am at home playing games. It means that right now I'm at home and I'm playing video games, and this is happening at the same time. I'm at home, and at home I'm playing video games. Two actions happening at the same time. Don't stay there doing nothing. Help me. Don't stay there doing nothing. Don't stay there. So it means that you are staying there and you are doing nothing to help. So, you see. Actions that happen one after another can also be followed by such words while and when. I guess we studied this, especially when we were studying the the past continuous, right? I was sleeping when you arrived. For example, remember. Or she was studying while he was cooking. So two actions happen at the same time here, right? And here one happened, the action of someone arriving happened after you arrived. So you arrived and you saw me sleeping. So I was already sleeping. I was already sleeping before that, and then you arrived and saw me sleeping. But you can use with ing clauses. You can say, for example, John hurt himself riding a bike. You can say like this, right? He was riding a bike and then he hurt himself. Or you can insert the word while here. He hurt himself while riding a bike. So it's also possible to use this expression, okay? Be careful when using this machine, or when handling this machine. This machine is very dangerous. It has an instruction manual, but if you are not careful, you may hurt yourself. So be careful when using this machine. You can omit, you can say be careful using this machine. So you use when and while to emphasize, right? It's possible to use, but not necessarily. You can omit when and while, okay? Oh my God. Having sent my emails, I turned off the computer. This is another example. It's very common in spoken language, speech, and writing as well, when one action happens after. So, can you figure out which action happened first? First, I sent my emails. I was working, or I was doing something on my computer, surfing the internet. Then I decided I will answer my emails. So I sent my emails first, then I turned off the computer. So one happened before two, okay? It's very, very common to use this expression. Having arrived. Having arrived at the city, I looked for information. So I arrived at the city, and then I looked for information about, just a moment here. Yes, arrived at is the correct. So you see, you know what's the difference between arrive at and arrive in? I was looking here on the internet because sometimes it can be rather confusing. So I will explain this to you. If you say, I arrived in New York, it's a specific city, right? I'm specifying where I'm getting. I arrived in New York. I arrived in Brazil. I was traveling by plane, I arrived in. But when you want to emphasize that you get to a specific place, you say, having arrived at the city. I looked at it in the internet because in my mind, at least, it sounds a little unnatural to say arrive at the city, but it's okay, it's correct. While I was writing here, I searched the internet, but hopefully I was correct. Yes, I didn't make a mistake. So having arrived at the city, having arrived at the bus station, have arrived at the airport. You can use arrive in or arrive at, depending on the context. And you can use get to. I prefer this expression, by the way. I got to the airport and now I'm looking for a cab. Okay, so I traveled by plane, I got to the airport, and now I'm looking for my cab. Or I'm getting my luggage or my baggage, and then I'm going to take a cab to my hotel. It's both correct. You see, English is full of little specialties, right? You have to take care of. It's not difficult, but you have to use these expressions constantly. And I have to confess, to me, studying prepositions and the correct usage of prepositions is not easy. Not only in these situations, these are the easiest ones, but the ones when you have to find combinations, noun plus preposition, or adjective plus preposition, in which you have to figure out the correct ones, and phrasal verbs as well. Phrasal verbs are not easy. To me, these are the most difficult things to memorize in English, or the most likely mistakes I may make, right, when taking an exam or stuff like that. I know many combinations. Most of the situations I study, I do it correctly, but I have to admit some mistakes we make because I'm not perfect, okay? But you understood this. Having arrived at the city, I looked for information. So this was a complete action. This action happened entirely before this one happening. But I have to admit, it's more common to use such structures in written English. Spoken English, it's not as natural, it doesn't sound as natural. It seems to be, it seems like it's formal language, but it can also be used in spoken language as well. I will end this video right here because I just got excited about it, and this video is already 20 minutes long. Oh my gosh, so I have to stop it here. So next video, we will study more structures and see more examples, okay? Bye bye.